Yeah, dude. I keep telling him I'm gonna rap over that.
Yeah, just drop some sick ass bars.
Yeah, dude. Do another garage studio or some shit.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. What up, everybody? It's the Storyworks podcast.
Yo.
We're back with another episode. I'm your host, Andrew Hall, and joined with not Zach Gosen this week.
Unfortunately.
He died right in front of my eyes moments before we recorded this episode. It was pretty traumatic, I need to see a therapist.
It's not a fake death like the last time.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't lie to you about that. Just kidding, I lied to you about that.
Again.
He's alive, he's fine. He's just a little sicky boy. It's all good.
The least trustworthy host.
Do I look like I'd lie to you? But no, so we're joined. Go ahead, introduce yourself, sir.
How's it going, everybody? I'm Burgundy, BRGND Check it out on YouTube.
He's back. Dennis has returned once more.
And anytime anybody wants me, I love this show, dude.
We love having you. So, first, I guess I just want to say Happy New Year to everybody. It's the beginning of a new generation.
Yes, sir.
Happy 2023, everybody.
Last year was a shit show.
It definitely was one of the years that existed.
That's for sure.
It's one of the years of all time.
It was
certainly
better than 2020, but...
yeah.
I mean, that's only by comparison, though.
Yeah. You got big plans for 2023, Dennis?
Mostly just production. You know, get the YouTube channel up and, you know, get our views up.
Keep destroying your body.
Yes, sir. Or mine and other people's bodies.
Nice. Very good, very good. Well, before the new year came, there was a kind of like stealth sleeper hit, I guess you would call it, that dropped on Adult Swim on HBO Max. Here I am shilling again.
You got to get paid at some point.
Hopefully they
HBO
send
Max.
me some kind of paycheck. Please, HBO.
Or at least a free subscription. Damn.
Warner Brothers Discovery, please.
The only app on my phone.
But yeah, they released this like holiday movie thing on Adult Swim.
I didn't even know about it until Zach said something.
Yeah,
like, it was
so, like,
kind of low key marketing.
That's what I'm saying. It was like stealth dropped. And they played that shit on TV. I think it was like December 11th or 13th or something like that. They played it on Adult Swim. It's like a hour and a half long movie, and it's just you get to watch a Yule log burn.
Oh yeah, that's all it is.
Everybody knows about those videos where the virtual fireplace and you just watch a Yule log burn.
Dude, did you read the description on HBO Max?
Yeah. I love that it's just, you read the description and it's just like, oh yeah, join us to watch this log burn.
Yeah,
and then it's just
festive...
TVMA and you're like, what? But yeah, so it's called Adult Swim Yule Log. I think it's also going by the name The Fireplace.
That it is.
Just came out on HBO Max out of nowhere. Adult Swim produced this thing. It's written and directed by Casper Kelly is his name.
I tried Googling him and all I could get was like actual Casper.
Just Casper the Friendly Ghost, yeah. He's just floating around.
And then
man.
I would type Kelly and I would get like Charlie Kelly.
Oof.
I'm just getting butt-fucked by Google.
But yeah, so this man, he's kind of well known in like the Adult Swim verse. He's been around for a while. He's made a TV show for Adult Swim that ran for like 3 seasons.
He made some of my favorite shows. I didn't even know it.
Yeah. I didn't know that that the guy who did, because he also did Too Many Cooks.
Yeah.
And that's how I was introduced to this man.
I love Too Many Cooks.
Too Many Cooks is so good.
There's a beautiful cameo in the movie we'll talk about.
Yes, it's so nice. But yeah, seeing that, and then like because that was my first introduction to him, and then I knew that like Your Pretty Face is Going to Hell existed,
Yeah.
but I had never really like sat down and watched it.
That's such a good show.
I just see like commercials for it or like blips for it whenever I would be watching Adult Swim growing up.
Did you ever watch the so you've watched Your Pretty Face is Going to Hell now?
Since, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've seen the Straight Outta Compton parody episode.
I have not seen. I've only seen
Ah.
the first 2 episodes. Zach and I watched the first 2 episodes last night.
Oh, okay. For like research?
Yeah. That shit is so funny though.
Dude. They have this whole episode where they're making workplace training videos because it's like an office setting, and
I love that, by the way, that they just make hell like a corporate cubicle space.
I mean, it's so fitting. But they had an episode where they're making those training videos, and Gary, the main character, decides to make it based out of Straight Outta Compton.
Oh no!
So he's saying, "Straight out of Hades, you see any ladies?"
Oh no! Jeez. But yeah, Gary's super funny. Claude's super funny.
Claude's hilarious. He's such a bad guy, dude.
Yeah, the guy that they got to be Satan.
Oh, there's a huge reveal about him later.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, about
I'll have to keep watching
his status as Satan.
Ooh. Interesting.
Yeah, we won't give any spoilers here. Go watch that show.
Yeah, dude, that show's awesome. He's very funny. The second episode where he's banging Gary's like girlfriend that he had when he was a human, and he's like, I need you to haunt this place and make sure that nobody buys it so that I can keep banging your girlfriend on the hardwood floor.
And then Gary's just a colossal failure. Like, he even tries to do the thing.
Yeah.
So he doesn't get tortured by Satan, and he just can't actually function as a demon. He's just bad at his job.
It's so funny. So absurd.
And you could tell that he doesn't want to do it because that's his girlfriend, but he knows he has to anyway. And even knowing that he has to try, he's still just incompetent.
Go check out Your Pretty Face is Going to Hell if you're into like absurd like comedy.
Satanic comedy.
Yeah, satanic comedy. They're all just wearing red like makeup and they have horns on their heads.
That's a bit later on too.
It's so good.
They have like a little fourth wall break where one of the characters switches from being a tortured to being a demon.
Oh yeah.
And then they have like a behind the scenes cut in the episode of him like, I am not putting this red shit on again. Get me out of these fucking horns.
I'll go back to being tortured.
And then flip right back into the episode. And he was like, well, it's too bad I couldn't cut it as a demon.
Darn. But yeah, that's a really good show. I've really enjoyed just like the 2 episodes that I saw.
Oh yeah,
the
comedic timing, and it gets so much better as you keep watching because the characters the characters develop as they're supposed to, and you get to know them so much better. And they use those personality traits to trigger a lot of comedy.
Yeah, it's very, very good. I was introduced to Casper Kelly through Too Many Cooks.
Yeah.
I remember sitting at my lunch table in high school.
I think that's where I saw it too.
And shout outs to Jacob Harm. I know, right? The deep cut. He walked up to me at our lunch table. Yeah, no, that's why I give him the shout out. I love Jacob.
He's a fan of the show too. Shout out Jacob Harm.
Yeah. Love to hear that. He comes up to me at our lunch table. I think it's like junior or senior year, and he hands me an earbud, and he's like, "Dude, you have to watch this." He's like, I watched this at like 3 a.m. last night, and it fucked me up.
Don't you kind of miss those days with like edgy? Well, not edgy because that's cringe as fuck, but like dark YouTube videos.
Yeah, where your
buddy would walk up to you with salad fingers or
like
DHMIS.
Don't hug me, I'm scared. Yeah, I was the guy. I was the don't hug me, I'm scared guy. Yeah. I was the guy walking up to all my friends and being like, "Yo,
I showed everybody that.
Watch this shit. Time is a tool you can put on the wall." My fucking German teacher, we had a project in that class where we had to make clocks so we could like understand like how to read a clock in German, and I made my clock the clock from Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared too.
That's beautiful. I love that.
But yeah, so he comes up to me and he's like, dude, you gotta check this out. You gotta watch this thing. I watched this at like 3 a.m. and it had me so fucked up.
That's the worst time to watch that.
And he just hands it to me.
Especially if you know who J Station is.
Oh God, not 3 a.m. Not the 3 a.m.
That
challenges.
dude's such a clown.
Oh God.
I hate that cunt.
Oh God, we don't even give him a platform. We don't even acknowledge his existence.
He has a channel now, and it's just driving me nuts.
That's rough.
It's driving me nuts. But you were shown this video.
Yeah, so he shows this shit to me, and I was just stunned. It was like my first introduction into like the world of like the Adult Swim infomercials as well.
Right. And you're walking in blind, you have no clue what's going on.
No idea what's going on, and then the song starts and I'm like, okay, so it's like a Full House parody. And then by like a minute in, when the song ends the first time but then continues going, I was like, okay, something's not right here. And then lo and behold, it just goes completely off the rails.
Oh my God. I love how it does it slowly too at first.
Yeah, it builds up by just repeating the song and introducing more and more cast members.
And then every here and there you'll get like a pause where you're like, oh, that's the end of the theme song, and then just
and then
too
it picks
many
right
cuts.
back up. Yep. And then they do like the genre changes.
Yeah.
My favorite.
I forgot about those too.
My favorite one is like the transition from like Law and Order cop drama.
Yes, dude.
To
I was hoping you
the
would say
G.I.
that one.
Joe animated
The G.I.
section.
Joe one was awesome. I also like the Star Trek one.
Yeah.
They threw in there. That was a lot of
Too
fun.
many cooks.
I love how
the cybernetic optimized operating Knights of Science.
Oh my God.
defending the universe against the beast rebels of the hellscape.
Dude. I guess the song, like the people that made the song said it was the hardest project they ever worked on.
Yeah.
Because they had to accommodate for all these different genres.
All the genres, yeah, dude.
Uh,
It's crazy. And just as it just devolves and derails even further, just go watch Too Many Cooks. It's on YouTube. You can watch it on YouTube for free.
Dude,
Please.
how you were talking about the transition to the Law and Order.
Yeah.
The regular theme song ends. We switch over to a Law and Order type of knockoff theme song, and then the detective gets chopped in the face.
So that's like the second time they do like the Law and Order bit.
That the second time?
Because they do the first bit they do where they're singing like Too Many Cooks. And it shows like the chick throw her nightstick at like the guy as he's running away.
Right.
And then they tackle and arrest him. But then later on, once like the house kind of falls to the like serial killer guy, it shows him investigating. I think he's like the detective shows back up and he's investigating. I think it's the corpse of the lady who spins in a circle.
Oh my God.
Like, and she turns her into like a superhero, and then as soon as she transforms,
and then she like transforms into the superhero back to a person.
It's like
back
her
to the
spin.
hero.
Yeah, it doesn't, and then like the music stops, and you just hear her feet tapping as she's spinning around, and then as soon as she finally transforms, she's just beheaded. Yeah, I think the cop's investigating that, and you just hear, you got like the smooth sax that's like doing the Too Many Cooks theme in the Law and Order theme.
Yes.
And then he's like, wow, yes, this person is dead. And then just the machete across the head,
right across the face, right back to Too Many.
And then it just him going,
all the blood screaming, blood in his gums, just outlining the teeth. It looked awesome.
And then like as it devolves even further, when they're no longer like the people having like the names appear below them, it's the names that are like in human form that have like the cast member itself appear where the name would usually appear, and they're just screaming, just horizontal, just
so good. And they just like fade in, just panicking.
Dude, it's so absurd.
Just planking in the air.
Literal
limbo.
Yeah. And then they do like when the doctor, they do like the pan to like,
oh, the doctor.
The doctor, he's like, this is the worst case of intranitis I've ever seen.
You can even hear the theme song.
And then she's like, Doctor, it's spreading. And he just looks down and sees it start to rise.
His name start to rise up.
He's slowly like fighting it, but he's turning to look at the camera and he's just like,
Kill me.
Kill me.
And he starts cracking a smile.
Yeah.
And we all know he's just suffering.
He's got the worst case of intranitis I've ever seen.
I love how they
that's a fine how do you do laugh track.
Like, oh my god. Could you imagine just making something so off the rails and then hitting them with a metachlorian type of explanation?
Exactly.
Just like, oh, it's an illness.
Yeah. And then it finally ends for the episode to begin, and it's just the dad saying, honey, I'm and then it's just the end credits roll.
That's awesome.
Perfect. Please go watch Too Many Cooks. It's so fucking funny.
So good. It's on YouTube.
It's on YouTube. It's on, I'll say it, it's on HBO Max.
Nah, is it on HBO Max?
Yep, it's in.
Oh yeah, it's on the
because they got the Adult Swim infomercial section. Yeah,
that's right. I watched that tripping balls. Like, swear to God.
Yeah, no, I believe that.
Yeah.
But I guess, that kind of content that he, like, the Too Many Cooks style, where it's like that, like, because it's a different kind of comedy, I guess you would say, from, like, Your Pretty Face is Going to Hell. Like, they're both...
It's less sitcom-y
They're both... I was going to say, yeah, they're both absurd in their own ways, but Your Pretty Face is Going to Hell has that sitcom vibe to it.
Yeah, they do have a lot of the same, like, special effects for, like, blood splatter and
absolutely.
that type of stuff.
But, like, in terms of, like, tonally different.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Casper Kelly used, like, the tone that he had when he made Too Many Cooks and the tone from Your Pretty Face is Going to Hell and mashed them together.
For this movie.
And that's how we got Adult Swim Yule Log.
Gotta love that 17-minute build-up.
Dude, like, we're going to talk a little bit about it, spoiler-free. Not sure how much we're going to be able to, like, discuss fully. I am of the opinion that you should go into this
blind
as you possibly can.
Do not continue this episode if you have not seen it.
Honestly, I can't recommend it enough. Just go hop on HBO Max. Let me shill it out.
Woo! Might be able to find like a re-upload on YouTube if you don't have that. I don't know for sure, but you might. Just go on Pornhub actually.
HBO on a new email.
I know, that's what I'm saying. But yeah, just go watch Yule Log. It's
blind.
You gotta. It's.
Don't watch a review. Don't watch an interview.
Don't watch a review. Don't look anything.
Literally nothing. Don't even read the description, even though it won't give you anything.
Just hit play.
Just hit play.
Because all I knew going in was that I didn't even know that it was directed by the dude who did Too Many Cooks.
Neither did I. Well, no, that's a lie. I did, but I didn't know how much of a part he played.
All I heard when I like before I watched it was, hey, Adult Swim just released this Yule Log thing. It's a full-length movie, and it's crazy. That's all I heard, and I was like, okay, I'm in.
Yeah, I just heard, watch this with zero context.
Yep, and then we watched it, and I told Zach and his wife, I was just like, I don't know how this is going to be, but we should watch it. And...
So somebody else brought it to you before you brought it to
It wasn't
Zach.
even, like, I think I just saw it in passing, like, on the internet.
Okay.
Like, just, like, people were talking about it.
Yeah, you're like, hey, this is getting some attention. Let's check it out.
And I was like, oh, okay. And then I saw that it was on HBO Max, and I was like, oh, fuck yeah.
That is Adult Swim. They don't make bad content.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you're telling me that there's an Adult Swim feature-length movie?
Yeah, you gotta watch that.
You just have me sold right then and there.
Yeah. Even if it is just a Yule Log, I'll watch it.
Even if it was just 90 minutes of watching a log burn.
Just in case something's funny in the credits, you know what I mean?
Exactly. I mean, and I looked at, like, the cast.
Just log performed by a log.
Yeah. Well, because before we watched the movie, I looked, like, I scrolled down and saw, like, the cast, and I was like, man in Fireplace.
Man in Fireplace.
I'm like, that's okay.
I have so many questions about that.
Dude.
Fuck. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Like, he's one of two people.
But yeah, so please go watch Yule if you haven't, The Fireplace.
Before we get into any spoilers.
And then just come on right back to us. We'll be here waiting for you.
We're a click away.
Yeah. So I guess just to kind of start it out and spoiler free, it's just a Yule log. It starts up. You got some nice little Christmas music.
Yeah. Crackling fire. But I enjoyed those first 2 minutes.
Yeah. Just it's a nice Yule log video.
Yeah, you know.
But then very quickly things kind of start to turn, and it has that Too Many Cooks vibes where it's just unsettling.
It's a nice slow build up too when the cleaning lady comes into the cabin.
Yeah.
Are we in spoiler territory now?
I just don't know how much we can really discuss.
That's
You know what I mean? Without spoiling. Just
because there's so many twists and turns.
Yeah.
It's
just go in, have no expectations for this movie, and just take it in. And
take it all in.
And with that, we're gonna drop a spoiler warning, because now we're gonna get into it, because like we have to.
You know, there's a lot going on when you say, "Hey, a cleaning lady walked into the cabin,"
and you're like, "Okay, now we have to drop a spoiler warning." But yeah, so with that, I guess we can just go ahead and continue and say that like this bitch dies instantly.
Yeah, instant clapification.
And I love. First off, it's so impressive to me that it was done, like, the first, 40 minutes of the movie is,
was the
one
single shot.
Yeah, it's not 40 minutes, but...
the first, 25...
I was gonna say, it's at least, 20, 25 minutes.
Yeah.
Is just... It's a one take.
Yeah,
there's no other way to put it. It's a one take.
Yeah, the only thing that changes is we had a close-up of the fireplace.
And the guy just comes in and zooms out.
The guy zooms it out so you can see the cabin living room. That's it.
If there was a way to break that up somehow into multiple scenes and somehow seamlessly edit it together, hats off to you. But I'm 90% sure that was a one take.
Yeah, a
25-minute scene in one take. Could you imagine how many times they had to shoot that thing?
Oh my God. I mean, the only way I could imagine there being any cuts or anything like that is if the whole cabin was built on a soundstage or whatever, and then people could walk off to the side without any changes in the lighting, and you just cut people in, but it just doesn't look like that.
That's what I'm saying. And that's impressive as fuck to me.
Right, and it feels like they shot it in a cabin, but I don't know that for sure.
Yeah, because I'm just imagining because they just keep adding members. More people just keep getting added to the scene, which is just more opportunities for the scene to get fucked up somehow.
Right.
It starts out,
especially with the context that there is a killer on the loose, and now there's a ton of people that we don't know.
Exactly. Yeah.
The only comfort that we have is that we saw the person killing the cleaning lady, so we know he's a bad guy.
Yes, and I just to go back to the beginning scene, I loved how it's framed where you don't really get to see the murder take place.
Yeah.
You just see...
She, crawls out of frame, going right.
You're just seeing, her knee down.
She got some nice legs, too, bro.
She did. And she shows up, and she's like, oh, sorry, I'm not going to be able to make it to whatever event that I was supposed to. My cleaning crew all called off, so I got to come clean this property. Blah blah blah.
Whoops.
Nice. And then
classic stand bump.
And then we just get that knock knock knock. And as soon as I heard that knocking, I was like,
it's popping off.
I was like, okay, here we go. This is when it starts to. I was like, when is it gonna pick up? And then I heard the knocking, and I was like,
see, you're smarter than me. I didn't pick up until I heard the southern accent.
So
once I heard the southern accent,
I'm sorry to bother you. My car broke down.
And that means danger, ladies and gentlemen.
Can I use your phone? If a
southern person says, "Can I use your phone? My car broke down," slam the door and call the police. The police will help them.
Is your phone dead? Don't you have a phone? Oh, my phone must have died.
Just ain't my day, I guess.
It just ain't my day. It's just me and my son.
And
then you just...
What are you doing?
You just hear, thuds as this, big dude and you're not seeing any of it. All this shit's happening off screen.
Yeah, just a crackling fire, and
you
you're
just hear,
like,
and then you just hear the lady go, "No, stay away, stay away."
you can't come in here.
And
it's like, oh, this is a home invasion.
Yeah, dude, it gets like scary.
Yeah.
And
yep, just watching a fire burn.
You got like the fire burning, and you've got like
we hear the door
like the
swing
cleaning
open.
supply. She's got like her bucket with rags and shit.
Yeah.
Just like in the frame as well. And then you just see her like she's on her like hands and knees like crawling to try to get away from this dude. And she comes into frame,
and then he's crawling
after her, and he's this like fucking like hills have eyes, like deformed dude with like he's wearing like a paper mask of like a blonde-haired
like literal cardboard cutout from the 50s.
Yeah. Just like the ideal like
Dick Van Dyke type shit.
Yeah. And
or Leave It to Beaver.
Yeah, and he's like, "Oh, she took my pretty face," cuz she like knocks it off. And the mom comes up and is just like, "Oh, don't you worry about that. I got your pretty face, hun. Now remember,
say nice things.
Remember to say nice things to her."
Girls like it when you say nice things.
And then you're just hearing her like scream off camera. And just it's getting
out.
more. The shot of the fireplace is getting more intense. The flames are like starting to build up a little bit. You're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Well, like the flames get brighter, and you're just like, okay, something's happening. And then you just hear squish. And
the screaming stops.
The screaming stops. The mom comes up and is like, "Oh, did you get your little jimmies out?"
Nah. She said, "Did you get your yuckies
out?"
Yuckies,
that's what it was, yeah.
And I'm like, oh, why would you say it like that, mama?
She picks up a rag and starts like wiping shit down, and
Not the yuckies.
Just blood. And
I love how sorry.
No, you're good. Just as she's breaking it, like wiping it all down, her fucking son is just like throwing like the shoes and like the bra onto like the fire to like she's like, "What are you doing there, son?" And he's like, "Evidence." She's like, "That's a big word for you.
You're so smart."
Now we can't burn the body. We have to bury it. We have to play the digging game."
You like the digging game.
And he's like, "Digging game."
She was like, these cleaning supplies really come in handy.
These sure came in handy.
Uses the lady's cleaning supplies to clean up her own body, dude.
And then
insult to injury.
As this is happening, you hear vehicle approaches. This can't, mind you, the shot is still just of the fire.
Right.
You hear vehicle approaching, you hear muffled conversations. The mom's like, "Oh, fuck, son." Oh, no, she says, "Oh," what did she say? "Crappus dappus." And she's like, "Come on, we gotta hide. Grab the body, we gotta hide." And he just drags the fucking body across the frame.
Somehow not leaving a single drop of blood.
I was like, okay, that's where I suspend my disbelief a little bit.
Yeah, that's where I'm like, there was clearly a mess. Like, that rag
you hear
did not...
squish.
Yeah.
Like the woman's
you
head
see the
like...
blood on her legs while he's dragging her. He's covered.
Exactly, yeah. You're like, there's got to be a mess.
Yeah.
But whatever.
That was the only thing.
Yeah, it's whatever. And then this couple comes in, and it turns out that like they have rented this cabin, like an Airbnb.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
And it turns out that the camera it's this dude's camera, like one of the dude that's like the boyfriend.
Right.
And he comes over and he's like, "Oh yeah, I think I got enough footage for this for my video." And it turns out this dude makes Yule log videos.
And he puts them up on YouTube.
And he puts them up on YouTube, gets like millions of views, and he like makes money on this shit.
He makes a little money. It's
yeah,
no big
and so
deal.
he walks over to the camera and zooms it out. And now the shot has become, it's like a wide shot of like the front of this cabin.
And that was so cool.
I loved when he pulled it back.
That was so cool. I mean, one, it looks nice, and two, it just adds so much more to the story.
Yes.
Because instead like, obviously, you could only hold the fireplace shot for so long.
Yeah.
But then you have to come up with some sort of logic as to why that shot would change.
Mm-hmm.
And they just nailed
I thought it was
it.
a really nice, like, natural explanation for it.
Right.
So yeah, this couple shows back up to the house. He's like, "Oh, you want to drink some wine? You want to get some wine?" And she's like, "Fuck yeah, I do. I gotta go pee first, though." So she walks off camera. He's like adjusting the camera, and then he's like, he's like posing, like on his knee. You're like, okay, this dude's about to propose.
I love how he tried explaining it away too. He's like, "Oh, I got a Charlie horse in my leg."
Yeah, they start talking, and he's like poured the wine. They set I think it's wine or champagne or something.
Yeah, it's wine.
They set it in like the bucket.
Oh yeah, the ice bucket that's right in frame in the right corner.
Dude, I loved it. It's so perfect. She shows up with like the bucket and like the wine. They pour glasses and they set it up right next to the camera. And in the reflection on the champagne bucket,
there's a door.
There's a door.
Right.
And as the scene is unfolding, where like they're just kind of talking about like their life, they're toasting. He's like, to us, and she's like, to saving the coral reefs. And he's like, yep,
that too.
Yep.
Sure.
And then
but in the reflection.
But as like you see like the door start to creep open.
And you
like,
see the dude stick his face.
And then like the creepy dude like pokes his head through, and he's wearing like his pretty face.
His pretty face.
And he literally is just like peeking through. Like at one point he comes out holding rope.
Oh yeah.
Like he's gonna
the second time he
tie
came
him
out.
up. And like so the dude proposes to his girlfriend. She's less
hesitant.
I was gonna say she's less than like elated.
You know I love you, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, well, you're kind of scaring me right now.
Yeah. And then as they're talking, like the dude is like about to make his move. He's like, I'm gonna get these fuckers.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just hear siren approaches.
Like a police car.
And then you see like the cherries and berries, and they come up and they knock on the door, and it's like, "Hello, I'm a sheriff. This is my deputy. Are you guys from around here?" And they're like, "No, we just rented this cabin. We're from out of town." And he's like, "Oh, okay. Well, we don't really want to scare any of the tourists.
They're our lifeblood.
They're our lifeblood after all. But we did find a body on the other side of the mountain earlier."
Girl instantly starts freaking out.
Yeah, and she's like, they've kind of built it up already to establish that this girl has like severe anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
And
which plays into why she didn't say yes to the proposal.
Yeah,
because
she's got like
worried.
she's got a lot of baggage.
Right.
And so she's immediately freaked out by this. And the cops, they come in. They're like, "Can I come in? Can I have a glass of water?" And as they're talking, the cop notices they're burning a log in the fire. And he's like, "Where'd you get that log?" And the dude's like, "There's a tree down the road. Just grab the log from that."
And the sheriff's like, "The tree with the circle
there's some
around
stones around it, like a circle." And he's like, "Yeah. Son, that was a hanging tree.
That was a hanging tree.
They used that back in the day to hang slaves."
And then apparently the curse goes farther back.
And he's like,
than
and
that.
Native Americans were all. It was a sacred tree to Native Americans. They would pour all their bad energy into it.
Yeah. And it was supposedly cursed.
Yeah. And so he takes his glass of water that he's given, and he just. But before he puts it out, he's like stealth 100, reaches into his pocket and pulls something out, some type of dust.
Yeah,
and
like a paper.
And he tosses it into the fire.
What the fuck?
And
you barely even notice it the first watch through.
Like I happened to just catch it, and he's just like, "Oh wow, look at that," and gets water, and then just immediately dumps it on the fire, puts it out, and he's like, "I wouldn't relight that if I were you."
I'm sitting here, I'm like, that was rude as hell.
He's like, "I wouldn't." He's just dead. He's dead ass. Like, "I wouldn't relight that if I were you."
It's like, neither would I. It's soaked in water.
In fact, I'd take it out tomorrow morning, dig a hole, and bury it. Don't touch it. Carry it,
wrap it up.
Wrap it up in a cloth. Take it outside, bury it. Maybe say a few nice words. Say some prayers. That's what I would do if I were you.
And the guy that made the proposal is just like, okay, this is stupid. Like, can we please
the
end
guy in
this?
the couple that looks like fucking Chris Evans.
Yeah.
He's just like, yeah, officer, yep, we'll do it. Yep, first thing in the morning, we'll do it. Yep, for sure, absolutely. Yep. Okay.
He's just trying to shrug these dudes off, get this going. He's like, dude, I just got like a barely yes right now. I'm really trying to save this situation.
He's like, you're really fucking killing my vibe, dude.
Yeah, like you're talking about bodies and curses and shit. Like we were having a vacation.
So they leave. He's like, have a good rest of your night, folks. And then they just go back to talking, the couple. You know, they're just...
Talk about their grievances, what she feels like there's a dark cloud hanging over her and she's cursed and she doesn't want anything bad to happen to him.
Yeah, she's afraid that being associated with her is going to, like, ruin him. And
I love the comparison that she made, and I'm sure you'll catch this, but she made the comparison that what if we're out one day and a tree falls down and just kills you, and now it's my fault.
It's absolutely just absurdist, like. But that's like the type of shit that you think about when you have anxiety.
Comes back later.
Yeah. But that is like dead ass. That's the type of shit that you think about.
That's me when I drive in the snow, dude.
You're just like, oh, what if this completely unreasonable thing happened?
Right.
What if I got shot in the face when I went to the mall?
Yeah.
You know?
Just like, what if I was just walking down the street and then a car was driving on the road and they drove up on the sidewalk and ran me over and like reversed over my head and crushed me?
What if a gang of homeless people showed up and like walked away with my home?
They just pick it up and take it. That'd be crazy.
Now you're homeless.
Yeah. But yeah, so like, I think they do a pretty good job at like portraying that kind of like general anxiety and kind of mental, not all the way there-ness.
Yeah, like it's relatable, but it's not at its extreme yet.
Exactly.
Which is nice.
Yeah. He's just like, no, honey, I love you even if you were a worm.
Right.
He doesn't say that, but that's like the vibe that he's giving off. He's on his down bad shit, you know what I mean? He's like, I'm just trying to salvage this as best I can. Pretty much, yeah. Pretty much. Well, he lays
down on the
he makes that a point. He's like, you want to lay down on the rug? And she's like, oh, with your camera running? That was a one-time deal.
Oh, God.
But yeah, so, you know, they're all talking. And then for like the fucking third time now, the scene is interrupted by...
Knock.
Not just knock.
Knocking.
Not just knock.
Someone pressing
the key code.
Key code, yeah.
And she is freaking out.
She's like, "Oh shit, they have the code."
She grabs a knife. She runs off and grabs a knife.
That's what I like about her. She's just ready.
Yeah, and he like answers the door, talks to this group that shows up. And then the movie just turns into Barbarian.
I haven't seen Barbarian.
So first off, check it out. It's on HBO Max. So here we are shilling yet again. Please go watch Barbarian. It's really, really good. It's written and directed by one of the whitest kids you know.
Oh, okay. Cool.
But it's like a horror movie.
Oh, that's lit.
Yeah.
That'll be a different
and like the premise of the horror of the whole movie is that this girl shows up to this house that she's like Airbnb'd. Mm-hmm. And she gets there, and there's already a dude in the house.
Oh, okay. It was double booked, just like in Yule Log.
Yes.
Okay.
And they have like the dude, like in Barbarian, the dude is very like welcoming, almost like too welcoming. It seems.
That's rough.
And like the dude is like, you know, to her, he's just giving off all these red flags.
Right.
But like, because he just shows, he's like, I booked this place. Here's my reservation. If you want, you can come in and we can call the guy, like call the landlord and figure out what's going on. And she's like, "No, I'm good. And he's like, "No, you should come in. You don't want to."
That's a red flag. No.
Well, because he's like, "I don't know if you've seen this neighborhood, but you don't want to be out here at night.
Oh yeah.
So you should come inside."
Ah.
And so, like, that becomes like the main crux of like.
That's the basis of the film.
Yeah, it begins and it's like, yo, we're double booked, and it's and I'm a woman,
right,
in like a shady part of town.
Yeah, I could see that being a pretty big issue.
So it's spooky.
Yeah,
but like it's this. They do the similar thing in Yule log where this group of podcasters, which is just God. It's so funny that they're podcasters.
It's so great that we're talking about them on a podcast, because fuck your podcast for one. Like, they're terrible,
dude. They're horror podcast where they just eat edibles and
that's called what is it? There's a podcast inside the house.
Yeah,
it's like,
God,
die. Just
die.
Just get clapped.
But yeah, they show up and they're like, "Yeah, we booked this on this app." Oh, well, we booked it on this app.
Oh, and that dude was a complete, like, are there words I shouldn't say?
Probably no, like, slurs or anything
obvious.
That.
Well, I mean, I don't say that anyway, but like the mustachio cunt.
Yeah. Oh, no, I don't care if you drop the C word.
Okay, cool. But like, that mustachioed motherfucker,
dude,
was
he's
the
like
worst
the most.
Piece of shit.
He's like the absolute, like. They were like,
he was the perfect first kill.
We need to dilute like the core essentials of being a podcaster and being like a trendy guy.
Yeah, and just make it the worst.
Just boil it down into this man with glasses and a mustache.
I swear to God, he might as well have been wearing a Mr. Rogers sweater. That fucking guy. He's sitting here. They're in town because apparently this part of the mountain has like alien abductions. Dude,
I forgot that the sheriff even mentions that there have been like alien sightings on the mountain.
Yeah, so they're here for that, and they have this photo of a lynching.
Yeah.
Of a lynching during slavery.
Yep.
Where one of the attendees, because there's a whole crowd of white people attending this event, is supposedly an alien.
Yep.
Because that's the important part of the photo.
And the dude's like, dude, what are you, like, the guy who was trying to get married is just like, okay,
he's
guy.
like, oh yeah, real
he's like,
sensitive.
Oh yeah, real, yeah. And then the guy shows him the picture and he's like, no, actually, that's pretty good evidence. He's like, babe, you got to see this picture.
Oh yeah. He starts like sarcastically clowning him.
Well, no, yeah.
He was like, if anything, it just looks like a slightly deformed person.
Yep.
Maybe wearing. And he was like, could you believe, like, figuring out space travel and you can't even put on a decent mask?
God. But they come into the house. They kind of just make everybody is just like,
my biggest beef, I'm so sorry, but my biggest beef with this mustachioed podcast guy is that he's showing this lynching photo because it supposedly has an alien.
Yes.
And we haven't mentioned it, but it is it's relevant for this here because the couple, it's a couple, there's a white man and a black girl. And this dude is trying to show a lynching photo to a black woman.
Yeah.
That's messed up.
Yeah.
Like, that pissed me off.
For
like,
sure.
Genuinely.
Yeah, absolutely. So they all
like,
get...
that just made me want him to go.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, get these people out of the house.
These podcasters suck. And so they show up, they come into the house, they kind of... Like, the girl is still like, I don't want these people in this house. Like, this is fucked up.
For more than one reason at this point, because now there's a killer on the loose. Random people showed up to the house. You don't know if one of them is them.
Exactly.
And on top of that, there's just the least tolerable people.
And still, it just in the house is
the killer.
Are the killers.
Yeah, they're just kicking
the mom and the son. They're just hiding.
In like the laundry room, I think it was.
And so they come in and they're... The one dude, because it's four people. It's this mustached man, his like blonde girlfriend, and then this dude wearing a drug rug with long hair. He's like the epitome of like a stoner bro. and
shout out Lucas
and
Luke
and his girlfriend, who is just like she's got tiggle bitties. You know what I'm saying?
Then that's a fact. She got that ass.
That's her entire character is that she's like hot. That's her. Yeah.
She's hot and like helpless, but she knows how to play dead. So.
Yeah. And they all come in. The stoner bro is like, yeah, dude, we all ate edibles designed to hit us as soon as we got to the cabin, so we're not going anywhere anyways. And they come in and start talking. The black girl is just like, I'm going to our room to fucking check our luggage. She's like pissed.
No, I would be.
And her boyfriend stays out to talk to the crew for a little bit. The one dude, the mustached man, is like, I'm going to go take a shower before the edible hits.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. Before the edible hits, everyone else is like, hey, we're going to go to the hot tub.
Yeah, and then, so he fucks off. He walks away. And then, dude, his girlfriend, I don't know if you picked up on it. She, is instantly, flirting with the main dude.
But let's not lie, bro. The main dude is pretty attractive.
I mean,
he's a good-looking fellow,
hot for sure.
You know what I mean? Way better looking than her boyfriend.
Yeah,
and he doesn't run a shitty podcast.
No, he makes these Yule log
photos.
videos. He makes these Yule log videos,
which is way cooler.
So they all go to the hotel, or not hotel. Sorry. The rest of the crew, goes
to the hot tub.
The three and the man who's with his girlfriend, they decide to go to the hot tub. And while everybody is gone, nobody's in the room anymore.
The log
reignites,
and that's when it starts going nuts.
And then I think that is the first time that we get
a different camera angle.
Also, sorry, I have to point out, because we didn't mention it at all, that throughout the entire first 25 minutes of the movie, there will be sections where it looks like it's like time travel, essentially. We're seeing the same scene from a different era in time.
Oh, yeah.
So the screen will start to pan, not pan, but you'll get a transition that starts to come across half the screen, and it'll show the cabin in the 1800s.
Right.
With a man and his slave sitting at the table eating. Or and then so that'll happen, and then the other half of the screen will pan in, and it'll show
era.
The 70s. Or it'll show the 1950s, where it's kids running around with cap guns.
I spent so much time trying to find the storylines of these other people.
Different, yeah, and it's just
based off of the transition.
Yeah, and it's just they're all different people that lived in this cabin in this different in this era, and we're just seeing all these different timelines, basically.
And I'm glad they did that because it ties in later.
Oh, for sure. That's why I just remembered it, so I had to bring it up now.
Oh yeah. That was a good catch.
And at this point in time, we get the first this is the first cut of the movie, basically. Right. The camera transitions. We go into the fire, and then we come out, and we see it pans around, and you get to see the kitchen. The camera that we were looking through is still positioned looking at the flames.
There's ominously smoke everywhere.
Yeah,
as it's moving through the house.
Well, because I don't think they should. You don't realize that it's the log at first.
It.
Yeah, it's just a camera moving through the house, and it goes to the bedroom where the black girl is. It backs off, and then it sneaks its way up the stairs. The camera is just sliding around.
I'm gonna live Google search the main characters' names.
Yeah, that's a good idea. And it goes into one of the bedrooms and into the shower where the man is showering. And he's surprised. And then we get one of the most brutal on-screen kills I think I've ever seen.
Oh God, where the log just starts.
And it's just POV, you're dying. And it's just this man in the shower as the camera is just getting close and smacking him.
You can see embers flying
his
off.
head is getting all bloodied until the third hit happens, and his head is just caved in. And
by the way, the main couple's names are Alex and Zoe.
Alex and Zoe,
or
yes.
Alex and Zoe.
Yeah. And at that point in time, the camera immediately like snakes back down, and it's revealed that this bitch was the fucking log.
Yep,
we were the log
back into the fireplace.
The fucking log that just relit itself flew out of the goddamn fireplace,
And
up
just-
a staircase, and caved in a man's skull in the shower.
Justly.
And then flew back down into the fireplace. And then everybody comes back out of like their separate rooms. Like
And nobody notices that the log's relit.
Yeah, Zoe comes out of the room. What's her boyfriend's name again?
Alex.
Alex and the podcasters come back out from the hot tub. The fire's just going. Nobody mentions it. Or no, I'm sorry. Zoe doesn't come out. Zoe doesn't come out at first.
Yeah.
The podcasters and Alex come back out.
And they all have their little
They're
like, sit down chat.
Yeah, sitting down and chilling. And that's when like
the chick starts flirting with Alex.
That's when that happens, but also the stoner bro.
Oh, yeah.
He is so high that he's looking at like he's like just like, whoa, dude. And he like looks at he hears somebody say like, hey there,
come on in.
and he's got like that like a Louisiana accent.
Yeah, very southern drawl,
like
a southern
like plantation,
gentleman.
yeah, like plantation owner.
Which is part of where I get my questions about this man.
And he's like, hey, come on in. Come here, you. I'm trying to talk to you. Come here.
And he appears as like just a little
He's just
dude
a man, just a tiny dude wearing like a yellow suit. And he's just like, come on in, come on in. And the stoner like crawls off of the couch and then just crawls inside the fire pit. And he's like transitioned into this like bar.
Actual hellscape.
It's like a bar with like flames surrounding them.
Did you see the bartender? The bartender's head is a deer, but then
Yep.
there's a human head
on
mounted
the wall.
on the wall.
Yep. And this man is just sitting at a table and he's like, come on, have a seat. Have a seat. And he fucking mentions, he's like, this is like that meme.
He's my favorite
And the stoner bro is just like, what? And he's like, that meme with the dog, and he's sitting at the chair, and he says, this is fine. And he's like, do you know that meme? And the stoner bro's just like, yeah. And like this is when the movie like just goes off, like is like off the rails.
As if it hasn't already.
Yeah, as if the
the
floating Yule log committing a murder is like tame.
Yeah.
So this man is he's talking to the stoner, and he's like, I want to show you something.
Oh, dude. Okay. Before we get to that, the pop bit. Do you want a soda?
Oh yeah. He's like, yeah, I'll have a Dr.
Nurse
Pepper.
Nutmeg.
Yeah, he's like, I don't got
Dr.
Pepper, but I got Nurse Nutmeg.
That was great. I had to mention that.
No, it's pretty good.
Yeah. That
So
was
then
a
he's
good
just
little
like,
bit.
I gotta show you. He's like, I want to show you something, and they get in this elevator that goes horizontal. It's
on
a horizontal
some Willy
elevator.
Wonka type shit.
And he pulls like a lever, and like the face of the elevator like opens up, and you can see out into like the cabin.
Yep.
And he's just like, that's where you are, or he's like, that's where your friends are right now. But I want to show you something else.
And you're looking through the fireplace at different eras.
He's taking you across like horizontally down this line, and you just see. I don't think it's the same cabin though.
No, it's not the same cabin.
So at this point, he's just taking you to like different fireplaces.
Yeah.
And time zone. Like you're traveling through like space time.
Space and time,
and
but it's limited to fireplace buildings only.
And he takes the stoner bro back to, he's like, you know where this is? He's like, that's your mom, pregnant with you. You've been a failure your whole life, right? And the guy's like, yeah. Kind of.
My parents just want me to be happy.
Yeah, and he's like, well, what if you didn't have to be a failure? This is a magic marker.
Or in this case,
a magic marker.
Great bit.
And he's like, now what you got to do is take this marker, crawl through the fireplace, get a piece of paper, and write A++. Put it on the fridge. If you do that, you will not be a failure anymore.
There's an awesome thing about the fridge.
And so the dude, he's like, what about my mom? She's just sleeping there. And he's like, be quiet.
Yeah, don't wake her up.
Don't wake her up.
And then he's sitting there and he goes, yeah, I can't make it all easy for you. There's got to be some risk if you want to succeed. You know, I'm starting to think that's part of your problem.
And so he crawls through, makes his way out. He writes A++ on the paper, and he goes to the fridge and he puts it on the fridge. And he's like,
he comes back into
he's like,
the
sick,
elevator.
I did it. And he walks back through, crawls through the fire. And then as he's talking to the dude, you just see in the background just a bloody scene.
Oh, yeah. He was talking to the dude.
And
he's like, did you do what I told you?
He's like, yep, A++, right on her stomach.
And he's like, wait.
He's like, wait, what?
And
he's like, wait, no. Not on her stomach, on
the fridge.
On the fridge, right?
He holds up the magic marker and it's red now.
And the dude is just like, were you high when you did this?
And by the way, on the high note, on the fridge, the magnet that he used to put it on the fridge, it was a red ribbon thing. I looked it up, and apparently it's a school event that encourages kids to live a drug-free lifestyle.
Oh, of course. Nice.
Yeah, dude.
I love
that's a dope
the little symbolism. Yeah. So then he's like, "Were you high when you did this?" And he's like, "No, yeah, I was, but I did it. A++ like, on her stomach. Her on the fridge." And then it cuts down, and you just see like she's laid out on the couch, just blood everywhere. Right. She's all cut up, and he looks down, and the magic marker is now a knife.
It's a bloody ass kitchen knife, and he's like, "I used the magic marker."
He's like, "I used the magic marker. I didn't." And the guy is just like, "Now I'd love to sit here and talk with you about this, but I don't talk to people who don't exist." And he turns around and walks away. And as he turns around, the stoner bro literally like fades away. Yeah. And then it cuts back to like to the cabin, and he's replaced with a completely different guy. Mm-hmm. Nobody remembers him because he never existed. Like it's incredible. Just like I was like stunned. I was like, wow, they really went there.
It was fucking awesome. You would think he would just be absent.
No, they do it. They do, and they're like, yeah, nobody is like, what happened to Stoner Bro?
Yeah,
because he never existed in the first place.
They watched the Matrix.
And
yes,
that's one of the things that really creates a question about the dude. So, like the southern guy in the fireplace, is he or is he not the devil?
I think he's Satan. Yeah,
but
or just maybe
there's
not
an
Satan
argument against that.
But I think he's like the
devil.
devil.
2 letters. Santa.
He's Santa. Yeah, but there's 2 arguments because he could be the devil. He's making bad deals with people intentionally, claiming their lives. He lives in a fiery pit and all that shit. So there's an argument that he's the devil.
Yeah.
But he also kind of ties in with the plantation owner character that we start to know.
Because I wasn't 100% sure who he's supposed to be.
Right.
Because towards the end,
he's one of 2 people.
Yeah, because towards the end they do that whole the scene in like the studio building or whatever, where he's like, "I'm sorry,
oh, in the
I'm
office
sorry,"
building.
yeah, and he's like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry," and then it cuts to the plantation owner dude saying like, "I'm sorry."
Yeah, that was another.
That's
part
where
of
I'm
my
like, I don't know if
questions.
he's supposed to be like a representation of this dude, or is he just a representation of like all the. Is he the log manifest?
See, if he's not Satan, I think that he's the plantation owner's dad.
Yeah.
The one that gave him the loan to keep the plantation open. Because he's partially responsible for that woman's death. Well, what happened with that woman.
Yeah.
Because she didn't get killed, but...
Well, she does.
But eventually, yeah.
Yeah, she gets hanged.
Yeah, but she's not, like... in the cabin, as we
Mhm.
see what happens in the cabin, she's not one of the people.
Yeah.
But he is partially responsible in that way because he was discouraging to his son
Oh, absolutely.
about that whole situation for obvious reasons at that time.
Yeah.
But then there's also a line that he says during the movie where he's like, "I'm not from hell. I'm,
Yeah,
from
well,
a
because
different time."
she says that he's like from hell, and he's like,
Now that hurts.
now that hurts. He's like that. He's like, you cut deep with that one.
I'm not from hell. I'm from here.
But
Just a different time.
Yeah. So
I'm like, what?
We cut away from that space to like come back to reality.
Snap back
To reality. Oh, there goes Stoner Bro.
I can't be on this show if we're gonna do that shit.
And now finally Zoe comes out of the room and she sees that it's lit. The log is on fire again, and she's like, "What the fuck did you guys do?"
They're like, "Who relit the fire?" And Alex is like, "Oh yeah."
He's like, "Oh, that is lit. That's weird. I didn't do that."
Yeah.
And everybody's like, "No, it wasn't us." And then the blonde chick is like, "I'm gonna go check on my boyfriend. He's been in the shower for a while."
It's so good.
And this is the when things are just like
goes off the rail.
This is like
for the third time.
Like we're multi-track drifting at this point. And she goes upstairs, starts screaming. Obviously, they find his like crushed in head in the fucking shower with the shower still running, and
he has half a skull.
They're like freaking out, wondering what's going on, and then that's like when the log just says "fuck it." And it comes out and tries to like fuck with them.
Yep.
And the guy
this thing is floating through the air.
The guy
still
who
lit
replaces.
on fire.
Oh yeah, I think it immediately crushes the blonde chick.
Yeah.
It just kills her instantly.
Yeah. She goes to call 911, and while she's making the phone call, it just slams against her face and just crushes it on the wall.
And then the guy who replaces Stoner Bro is like, "I know what to do," and he jumps onto it to try to like wrestle it.
Fuck.
But he's just like holding it now as like the log is like trying to buck him off of it.
Yeah, he's got like a blanket.
It's like
over
running
it.
back and forth into like the walls until it decides like, "Oh wait, I know how to solve this problem," and just pastes this dude on the ceiling. And so we've just
when he falls down, you get that nice little blood splatter that comes up into frame too. That was a nice touch.
So now it's just Zoe, Alex, and
titties,
and Big Boob Girl.
I wish I knew her name so I didn't feel like we were just calling her body. But that's her character.
And so they're fighting this log. I can't remember how the log gets separated from them.
They ended up running into one of the bedrooms and like locking the log out.
Yes.
But eventually it does make its way back in through the window.
Yeah, and then
they start running and split
and they run
up.
into the couple, or they run into the family, the mother and the child, and the son.
I think before that, they end up running out of the bedroom. The couple goes off into a closet.
Yeah,
and then
because they're hiding in the closet, and then
log
hot
girl
comes
is
in.
like not in the closet.
No, yeah, she's off doing her own thing,
right?
And that's when she gets captured because she runs off, and that's when she gets captured. Yeah,
right. And then the log comes in through the vent. Which was great because he's like, "This is the best place to be. There's no windows. I can't get in here."
Yep.
And it's like, "Yeah, I can."
And then they lock it in that closet room, and I think that's when they get captured.
Yeah, that's when they get snagged up. Because you also see the girls captured by the mom in the background.
Yeah. She's all tied up, and then the mom ties up Zoe and leaves her and the other girl in like the main room
for
her son.
Her son to choose
his woman.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, Alex is in like the
clearly Zoe's
room.
wife material, by the way. She's wife material.
Absolutely, she's worth it.
But if we're going for a casual bang, I mean, let's be obvious.
Yeah.
Well, honest.
And then Alex is in like the laundry room with Mother.
Oh God, that was
Dude, that scene.
that whole scene.
He's all tied up and she's just talking to him.
Eating
He's
pimento
cheese, yeah.
off
And
of a
off of her
kitchen knife.
off the fucking knife. And then she feeds it to him.
She like sits on his lap,
dude,
like legs
It
spread.
gets fucking creepy.
Oh, dude, and she's like, "Don't mind my old lady breath and pimento cheese."
Yeah.
And she's like, "But then again, your breath smells like pimento cheese." I don't think
it gets
I'm pronouncing
gross.
that right.
I think it's just pimento.
Yeah, pimento.
Yeah.
And then she kisses
him and is like, "I'm gonna kill you."
Yeah.
And meanwhile, the boy, like the son is like
with his pretty face.
With his pretty face. He's trying to figure out which one he wants.
Oh,
the girl, the big breasted woman is like,
pick
you
her.
don't want her. You don't want me. You don't want me. You don't want me. You don't want me. You don't want me.
She goes, pick her. She's prettier.
She's prettier than me. She's prettier than me. Pick her.
Like, what a thing to say when your whole identity.
And then he just goes, eeny, meeny, miny, mo, meeny.
Yeah.
And
I'm like, man.
Comes after the big-breasted girl.
Obviously.
Knocks her ass out quick. Meanwhile, Zoe's got her hands tied. She's like trying to like saw it through like the stone on the fireplace.
Right.
And then, dude,
if it wasn't already off the rails,
wasn't already absurd enough,
This is where it gets off.
aliens.
This episode
appear.
is just called Off the Rails now.
Yeah, nope. It's nope. A fucking UFO lands, and an alien, just one, comes out, walks into the house, like through like the laundry room door.
Worst part is Alex thinks he's saved now because they see the lights through the curtains.
The lights, and he's like, "Ha ha! I called the cops, you fucking bitch! Ha ha ha! You're fucked."
She peeks out the
She's
window.
like, "Those aren't fucking cops."
She calls out to her son, "We got company."
Yeah, and the alien comes in, just looking absurd, all fucking like chromed out, wearing like the reflective silver bodysuit.
Oh, shit.
And just, is it a gun that it pulls out?
Yeah, it pulls out like a gun tentacle cannon.
Yeah, and it fucking
that, like,
he shoots the mom and just like drains her.
Yeah, like these tentacles fly out of the gun and like go into her eyes, nose, and mouth. Just starts pulling blood, and I'm assuming organs based on the lore.
It just sucks
and
her
there's
dry.
just this container on his leg
that's just filling up
with blood.
And then he sucks Alex.
And one thing about that, which I thought was hilarious, Alex just saw this lady get clapped by an alien in one of the most violent ways that you possibly could see. And he starts trying to talk to the alien.
Yep.
Like, if you have faster than light speed travel,
that means that you're peaceful and that you
have empathy and all that. I'm like, okay, no, that's not what that means. The fact that they could travel space probably means they don't have empathy, that they don't give a fuck about you. You know, like it. And then also, let's mention, at this point in the movie, we have 3 different genres of horror going on at the same time.
You've got
we
like
have
your
a home invasion, the ghost story.
You've got your like haunted Yule log, and then you've got aliens,
which is the cosmic horror, and they use that. I didn't like the aliens at first.
Yeah,
but the fact that when the alien pops up, he's sitting here trying to empathize with the alien.
Yes.
One of the biggest parts with cosmic horror is that
it's just
it doesn't give a fuck about you.
Yeah.
It just does not care about you. You are nothing in the vastness of space. And the alien personifies that by just not caring at all.
Absolutely.
So that's the upside, but it was a little too much.
Oh, I mean, well, yeah, like... Like at that point in time, I was like, okay, they're adding in... I was like, the aliens are coming back now.
I know, dude.
And so throughout this entire thing, we're getting bits and pieces of different timelines throughout this,
just popping up on screen.
Like we're getting like more scenes of the slave owner and his slave as they're eating dinner, and he's talking to the slave. She's made like a nice knit blanket, and she's like, "Hey, I was just wondering, when next time you go to see Mr. Luther,
Yeah.
if you could just give this to my boy. I know we had to sell our son because your dad found out. But you sold him to Mr. Luther. He's a good man. So I was just wondering if you could check up on him and maybe give him this blanket."
And the whole time, the plantation owner is acting like it isn't his son, because that would be very taboo in that time.
And he's just like, "Now, listen, I had to
put him up for auction.
I had to put him. Dad told me I had to put him up for a price, not for care." So he got sold to Mr. Andrews, or whatever the other guy's name was.
Who was apparently a notoriously violent
slave
plantation owner.
And she's like, "You sold our son to this man? That's our son."
Yeah.
And like throughout, like because the fucking log, when it's like chasing them all around, it's just repeating. It's just going, arson.
Yeah, because the log's on fire, so they're like, it's screaming like arson.
But then, like, you get this flashback to the 1800s, and you realize that it's saying our son.
Because she's screaming our son as she's stabbing him.
Dude!
Yeah.
It's all HBO.
It's all HBO.
So she's all pissed off.
The Hodor theory.
So she takes the blanket, and she wraps it around this dude's head, and then is like, "That was our son," and starts stabbing him.
Because this whole time he's saying, "Your son's a good worker. He's a good boy. Your son
he's like,
will
he's
be
not
fine."
he's not gonna get in trouble.
So at this point, we don't know that it's both of their kid. We just think it's her kid, and that she's favored in some way, and that her son was guaranteed protection. But now we know he had sex with his slave, and they had a child that is now probably being abused.
Yeah. So like, you get that scene. You get a scene where it's like the 1960s or 70s, and there's
the black and white one.
No, this is the one with the guy,
the cross-dresser.
Yeah. There's a man who's like cross-dressing, and he's getting like abused by his mom, who's like calling him like a commie and shit like that. I think that's what he said. Like he's like I'm not like a.
Oh yeah, he was screaming, "I'm not a sodomite."
That's what he's screaming.
And he was being beaten by a man who like.
I thought it was his mom that was beating him up.
I think the mom like opened the door and a man came in and just started ruthlessly beating this guy. Like I'm pretty sure he got killed.
Yeah, I mean that
I could
happens.
be wrong, but
that happens. The woman takes the knife. Like we cut back to the slave, and she takes the knife that she used and sticks it in the fireplace.
Yeah.
To like hide the murder weapon.
Which was a nice little case of foreshadowing.
Cuts to the 1950s, and we see these kids playing with their cap guns, and they find a knife in it, and they're like, "Oh, what's this knife?" They're wearing like cowboy hats, and the one's like, "Oh, it was probably a knife that an Indian used to scalp someone."
Yeah, one's like, "They didn't have knives. Maybe a cowboy scalped some Indians."
Yeah, it's like, okay.
I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I'm like, we lived in a time, didn't we?
Yeah, for real. I was just like, this was fun for kids at one point. What is this?
And then from there, we cut back to the current timeline.
Where she's still trying to saw the rope off with the stone.
And the knife proceeds to like fall out of the fireplace.
What a stroke of luck.
She grabs the knife. While she's like doing this, the log has reappeared.
Mm-hmm.
And is about to like crush her. And as it's about to crush her, she gets saved by the man.
By the killer.
He saves her. He cuts the fucking axe or the log in half. It just refuses.
Yeah.
Back together. But he fights it. They they go.
Oh wait, is this before or after he killed the alien?
I think it's after he kills the alien, because I forgot about the alien.
Yeah, because after the alien sucks the killer's mom and Alex, he comes in. Sexy girl's playing dead.
Yeah, she's pretending to be dead,
and the alien's coming after Zoe.
Yeah.
To which the killer sneaks up behind the alien and decapitated his ass with an axe.
Yep, uses the axe, cuts his fucking head off, and then is like...
The thing that kills me is he looks at Zoe after he killed the alien, drops the weapon, holds his arms out, and says, "You love me.
You love me."
And I'm like, dude, like, don't make me empathize with this guy. You know, like, I don't want to, you know, wish good things for him, but like, he's clearly deformed. He's mentally, he's not all there.
Well,
he's
that's the
not
thing is
in
like
the care of a stable person.
They do the whole "he says you love me" thing, but then he immediately, like, after he fights the log, he comes back and is like, "You'll touch me down there now."
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, no, I can't like this guy still.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't have any understanding of sexual, like, relationships. He doesn't have any stable guidance at all.
Yeah.
You know, this man is clearly handicapped.
Oh, for sure.
And
his mom has just destroyed him.
Just neglected him so much. And my girl, when we were watching it, she made a connection to him and the character Lenny of Mice of Men.
Mm-hmm.
How that character...
Just look at the river, Lenny.
Yeah, dude. Well, like,
We're gonna tend the rabbits, George.
When he kills the girl in the book of Mice of Men.
He doesn't, he doesn't understand.
Yeah, he doesn't get it because he was feeling the character's hair, thinking it's soft. She starts screaming because he got too rough, and because of that, he got scared and actually accidentally broke her neck.
Yep.
You know? And I mean, same shit. You got the exact same thing. This guy not understanding how romantic situations work.
Boundaries or anything like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He gets too aggressive. He gets scared. He claps the person. You know? So, like, you can't help but empathize with him a little bit. You know? Like, he's doing it, and he's an actual monster, but there's causation to it.
Yeah, for sure.
You know?
But yeah, so he's like, "Oh, you're gonna touch me down there." And at this point in time, she has
like,
grabbed the knife. She's broken her ties, and Zoe's like, "Stab in the dick."
Right in the dick.
And he's like, "Oh."
She touched him down there.
And she just keeps stabbing him, and he's like,
cock blood just spraying all over her face.
And my man dies.
Yeah, let's hope. I hope he died after that.
So she gets up. Davis just died. He gets up, or she gets up.
Everybody's like, wait, when the fuck they're using a character, Davis?
She goes into the laundry room, and Alex is not like how he's not like how the mother is. Like, the mother is like, this is your brain on drugs.
Yeah, she's
literally like
literal deflated.
She's like the old commercials, Davis, where they'd be like,
I need that gas.
don't do drugs, and then they like cut to like the person like deflated in the chair. Yeah,
the whole movie's secretly an anti-drug campaign.
Well, see, that's the shit you want as a weed smoker. You're like,
I want to be turned into that.
See, I want to smoke to get up and do shit. You know what I mean?
No, my brain is like, okay, so I'm like,
put my ass to bed. Yeah,
you know, I want to be the.
You want to be the.
You want to be the mother. Yeah.
This is your brain. Crack.
But yeah, so she's like just gone. She's just like a skin suit at this point. And he's still alive. He looks really rough.
Yeah.
He's super pale.
Black eyes.
He's like very disoriented.
He looks like he's on the nod.
Yeah, Zoe comes up and is like, "You're okay, you're okay, you're okay." He's like, "Kill me, please."
Yeah, he literally says that.
He's like, "Just kill me."
And she's like, no.
Yeah, she's like, no, you're gonna live, you're gonna live. They get out. She unties the other girl, and she's like, "I'm sorry that I told him to kill you."
Yeah. They make a breakout to the car.
They get to the car. She's like, "Fuck this!" Like the big breasted lady's like, "Fuck the car."
Oh yeah,
because they get to the car.
They don't have the keys when they get to the car, and she's like, "Fuck this!"
Yeah,
because the keys are in the house. It's in the kitchen,
And she's just the
Fuck
big-breasted
this, I'm
girl's
not
just like,
going
fuck
back in
this,
that
I'm
house.
running down the road.
And then she never appears again.
Yeah.
From what I remember.
Yeah. So they go get the keys, and then they leave, and they're driving down the road, and as they drive down the road, it turns into, like, Hereditary / like Midsommar for a second.
Little bit, some
Where-
daytime
Dude,
horror.
the story works like Recipe is we just go like, oh shit, they pulled this from that. Like, up, here comes.
Well, like, because they
there it
pull
is,
up, they
like-
drive up on the hanging tree,
Yeah.
and there's it's a bunch of cultists just wearing robes around it, like praying, and it turns
it's still
out
night
that
at this point.
yeah, it's still the middle of the night.
sheriff-
It turns out that the sheriff that we met at the beginning of the movie isn't a sheriff.
Yeah.
They call when they call the cops, they're like, yeah, the sheriff was at our house earlier, and they're like, this isn't like a county that has a sheriff.
Yeah,
We have
a chief of police.
Yeah, we have a chief of police. We have a police department, not a sheriff's office.
Yeah, that was revealed while they were still locked in
Yeah.
that bedroom.
In are you?
Oh, it's like we're in like the last 10 minutes.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
Okay, I was
Yeah,
wondering
yeah.
if this was still like minute.
No. We're like no. All the shit
Like, much
happens,
more could
yeah.
happen.
Yeah,
like,
literally.
Well,
And
dude.
then it goes off the rails.
No. Sorry, hold on. I have to strike it because we have to go a little bit
Rewind
further.
back to
Yeah.
Minute 36.
Minute 36. No, not minute 36. But we forgot about Zoe crawling into the fire.
oh yeah, because she went back into the house.
'Cause she
Oh wait,
goes-
no, yeah.
She
because
goes into the
crawls
house to
fireplace.
get the keys, and as she's like getting the keys, the man in the fire is like, "Hey, come on in.
Yeah.
Come on in." And so she goes in and talks to the man. He gives her the same shtick. Is like, "Come on into my elevator."
Which, by the way, at the door of the elevator looks like tree bark.
yeah.
Just like
Yep.
the tree.
And so he's like talking to her, and he's like, you have a pretty fucked up life.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, dead ass.
He's like, you've had a lot of bad shit happen to you.
You don't want to deal with this anxiety anymore.
He's like, you exist the way you are because you are the one in a million sperm that won the race.
Pulled that old card.
yeah,
and so he
we're one of
goes-
the
Yeah.
100 million.
So
Fuck
he's
outta
like,
here,
what if?
fast.
He's like, what if someone else got a turn?
take this baseball.
And he takes him. He's like, this is the night that you were conceived. I've
This
taken
is
you
your
back
house.
to your house. All you have to do is take this baseball, crawl through the fire pit, place this baseball on the third step. Your dad will slip. It'll jostle his balls a little bit.
Maybe give another one.
Maybe give someone else a turn this time. And she's like, no,
Yeah. She's
I-
like, I want to live.
I want to live. For like the first time, she's like, I want to live.
Right.
And the man is like, no.
He's like, that's
He's like,
not
I'm
how
not.
this
He's like,
works.
that's not how this works. You go in, you don't have a choice in the matter. You go
Yeah.
in and you put the ball on the stair.
Which is when
And
she says,
that's when
"You're
she's
from
like, you're from hell. And he's like, that hurts. I'm from here.
Just a different time.
And as he's like talking, like she's like trying to fight it, but she's like realizing that like she can't. She's like, her body is like starting to move against her will.
He got into this little spiel too that was kind of interesting, talking about time privilege.
Yeah.
Because that was really neat. He's like, nobody talks about like time privilege.
He's like, he says that she's privileged because she gets to live in the time that she lives in.
right, and he's like, you get to sit in an office and type away at a little keyboard and air conditioning. And he's like, I've never even had avocado.
Yeah. And
It's
as
like
they're
progressive
talking,
views. So like he even said like you get to have all these progressive views, which tells me that he at one point existed not only as a person in a different time, but also might have wanted to have a more progressive situation.
Mhm.
Which as a plantation owner, you could see how that's like a huge
like conflict of
dilemma.
interest,
Yeah.
But yeah, so like he's talking to her about this shit, like going off on his tirade, and as they're going, all of a sudden you just get fire poker.
Oh yeah. Alex
Just
saved the day.
comes through like a big fire poker just comes through and like impales the man in the fire. And he's like, ow. And he's like, you just hear Alex, he's like, babe, come on. And she crawls back out of the fire. And yeah.
Yeah, it's...
And then that's when they get into the car and they drive away and they find these cultists.
Gets off the rails.
Yeah. No, so now we're back to the cultist part.
Back to the cultists. Did you notice in the barn?
Yeah, the naked lady. Yeah.
I was like, who was she?
Yeah.
There was just no explanation.
Just some weird forest spirit, it seemed.
Some weird pale...
She had like horns and shit.
Did she?
Yeah.
I just saw.
She
tits.
was all like I don't know if it was I think she was meant to be some kind of spirit or something.
Yeah, that would make
but
sense.
she Zoe's driving and she just runs these cultists over. the sheriff is like, you can't escape. You don't understand how this works.
He's like, you're a part of this now. Like, you're important. Like, talking about how they need to be here.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
he's like you don't understand how your part in this.
She literally says, "Fuck you."
Yeah, just runs them all over.
over.
They escape. They get to back to civilization in town, and they have a moment where they're
stopped at a red light.
They're stopped, and she says, "I will marry you."
And he smiles.
And you're like, "Oh, thank God they fucking got away." And then you just see the fucking log
hover into the driver's side window.
That it appears. It hasn't appeared since the son fought it and they ran off into the woods and fought together.
Yeah.
It's back, and you just see from the camera view outside the car as it just
from behind the car.
Yeah, as the log just enters the window and you just see red coat the windows. And they all everybody just fucking dies at the end, and that's the credits, and then credits roll, and it just says the fireplace.
There's a cool thing about the log. Did you notice that it was saying lines of dialogue from other characters?
Yeah, that's I'm not a sodomite.
Yeah, and our son. One of them said "my baby," and I want to know what that one was.
I want to know
that one was different.
Dude, the one that I want to know about is when it cut to the it wasn't a line that was spoken, but it was when they cut to the lady who's
watching the TV with the remote,
and she just starts cutting her wrists.
I didn't even see that.
Dude, there's a scene where there's a lady, she looks kind of like, a goth chick, but she's just sitting by the fire, and she's got earbuds in or something, earbuds or headphones. She's listening to music, and then you don't see her cut herself, but she definitely picks up a razor and is moving towarurs her arm as it transitions to a different time. So it was
a quick clip.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's those scene. It's when they're
those
transitioning between all the different times.
Yeah. Some of those are kind of hard to catch.
Yeah, I mean, also we didn't talk about the. There's just so much that goes on in this movie that I
we
forget.
Also didn't talk about how when she tried Zoe when she was in the elevator with the guy in the fireplace.
Yeah.
She tried pulling the knife that she got.
Oh yeah, and he's like,
him.
"Oh, that's my knife. You found my knife."
I've been looking for that
and that's
for
why,
ages.
That was another part of him being that plantation owner. He might be
the plantation owner's dad.
He might be the son if it was his nut, because she killed him with his own dinner knife.
Right, but I believe that he inherited the place from his dad.
That's fair.
Possibly.
But
he also needed a loan from his dad too.
Yeah.
So
that's what I love about this movie, though, is that there's just so much interpretation that you can come up with. Yeah.
Small details.
We didn't talk about how we get a weird transition to this advertising studio or something like that.
Yeah.
Where it looks like they're making an advertisement for
an apartment complex called Cotton Mill Apartments.
Yeah. And the actors that are in the scene are the plantation owners, the son and the slave. And they're both, I don't know if you realized that it was them.
Yeah.
But they're just talking, and then they're walking out of the office. They're like, "Oh, we're going to go get drinks." And they walk past this dude who's fixing the AC in their unit.
Mm-hmm. That was a nice little callback to the thing that Alex said.
And it's the son.
Yeah. Because Alex, when he was captive by killer's mom.
He tells her like, "Oh yeah, he could go be like an HVAC guy."
Yeah, there's not enough tradesmen, like kids don't want to do it. He can make a ton of money. I'll show you how to do this.
Yeah.
And now in this world, he is the HVAC guy.
And they're talking, and they start to have this moment, and I don't know if that place is supposed to represent hell.
See, I thought it was heaven at first until the fire started.
That's what I'm saying. Is like because they're both there. Well, because I didn't think it was heaven because like the plantation owner. Look,
Right.
Let's be honest.
Yeah, I mean,
plantation
obviously.
owners don't go to heaven.
Obviously, but
also
like,
the cereal,
everything
the sun was there.
I mean, it also depends on like your stem of belief.
Yeah,
so like if we were to like
definitely.
not go with conventional Christianity, you could argue that like in this white office building, if it were heaven, this is just everybody living their best lives.
Yeah.
So like that would make sense why it's heaven. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Until obviously
Again,
everything
that's why I
catches on
love how
fire.
like open to interpretation it is.
Right, like there's so many ways to look at it and like different story elements you could pick up on.
Yeah.
And it all still makes sense within the context of what you're talking about.
Oh, definitely.
But
yeah, they start talking to each other, and then he's apologizing to her,
he
and
starts panicking.
you get like that they start transitioning back from like their like modern personas to like
Their time.
the 1800s, and then the dude transforms from himself into the man in the fire.
Oh yeah, and then he is still apologizing to Rose.
Yeah. Just crazy scenes.
Yeah.
Like that, like it's just something that happened that I forgot to mention.
Yeah, I mean that was
This movie is just...
And that was immediately after we found out that our main characters made it back into town.
Yes.
Well, no, before.
I think it's right before.
Right before
Yeah.
they got back into town.
Just an insane movie.
Yeah.
Absolutely bonkers. Like, sure, does it bite off more than it can chew?
Yeah, it was an emotional roller coaster too, dude.
I think with the whole like aspect of like biting off more than it can chew, I think if you go in knowing what it's supposed to be, then yeah, the movie might be a little bit of a drag for you.
Yeah, it's gonna be bland.
But it's an experience to witness blind.
Exactly, and like you really can't let yourself like get any spoilers or anything, because like if you walk into it, you're just like, yeah, this is gonna be a Yule log, basically.
Mm-hmm. And then it gets to be so much more.
Yeah. And I love that the log was an interval character.
Yes. Like
as opposed to just being like a random setup to whatever we're gonna be watching.
Yeah, it's not just
because that's what I thought it was gonna be.
Just a movie that like revolves around like the beginning premise being like, oh, there's a Yule log burning.
Yeah, and then everything is just completely unrelated.
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't.
No, they wrap it in. They wrap it into the plot.
Yeah. And they made it like one of the main killers.
Yeah. Like it has a higher body count than like the actual
than the actual killer
murderers that exist. So what would you give this movie, like a rating wise?
An obvious 10 out of 10.
Yeah, it's a 10 out of 10 for
it
you.
was one of the most entertaining things I've watched in a long time.
I definitely think that it's like the craziest thing that I've seen in the year of 2022.
I will say it doesn't have as much replay value.
No, and because of that, I don't think I'd give it a 10, but I think I'd give it like a 9.
Yeah, 9's probably fair.
I really, really enjoyed it. I love like just insane, absurdist stuff like that.
Yeah. That's why I like Adult Swim, though.
I just love Adult Swim.
Yeah.
Never stop letting your creators create like these insane things, and I don't think Adult Swim will ever stop doing.
No, I hope not. Except for Moral Oral, but
that show existed.
That show got canceled. It got so dark. No, that show got so dark.
I know.
It got canceled, bro. That shit is amazing.
Moral Oral goes insane.
The whole third season.
Jesus. But
What was that one show where it was all like was that Adult Swim? It was all the like superheroes, but it was like dirty.
You're talking about Drawn Together? That was Comedy Central.
Yeah.
That show was insane.
A weird one.
But
tune in next week when we talk more
yeah.
HBO.
Yeah. So yeah, that was The Fireplace or Adult Swim Yule Log. Absolute roller coaster from start to finish. I loved this show, this movie.
Like, not even just, like, the topic switching and all that. Like, you really start feeling for the characters.
You really do.
You're like, get out!
You want Zoe and Alex to survive.
Yeah, dude. At first, I didn't even like Alex. I thought he was kind of a prick.
He kind of sucks,
but then the more shitty characters that got involved, you're like, okay, he's just not
better
that
by
bad
default.
of a guy.
Yeah. So yeah, go check it out. I mean, you basically just heard like a verbal retelling of it, but
basically.
Like, go check it out. Yeah, we told you at the beginning, go watch this shit.
We told you twice at the beginning to watch this shit.
And that's when you know it's serious, when we tell you twice. So yeah, that was this week's episode of the Storyworks podcast. I really want to say thanks for coming on, Dennis.
Thanks for having me.
Go ahead, plug away.
Hell yeah. Check out BRGND TV on YouTube. You could also check out Burgundy Music on all streaming platforms. Hit up the social medias. We'd love to, have you.
Hell yeah. Let us know what you guys thought about this movie. Hit us up, email us, drop some comments on our YouTube.
Also, let us know what else you would like to see.
If there's more like Adult Swim content you guys want us to cover, we love Adult Swim.
I'd like to mail Zach Pepto-Bismol.
If you'd like to airdrop Zach Pepto-Bismol, please just email us, contact us. We'll get you all the information that you need.
And I'm just saying, for the fans, on the fans' behalf, you need a moral oral episode.
He's putting it out there.
I'm putting it out there. Let us know in the comments.
Watch us go live on Twitch and watch a whole moral oral back to back.
Stop.
Can we fucking please? They're 15-minute episodes. They're not that long. They're 3 seasons.
Probably knock it out.
Oh, for sure.
There's like 20 episodes a piece for 2 seasons, 17 episodes on 1 season, 15-minute episodes. Like, that's a wrap. You could watch that in a few hours.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, 12 hours.
Yeah.
It has a cult following for a reason.
But yeah, so next week on the pod, join Zach and I as we talk about the latest documentary that has released on HBO Max. We're back to shilling, doing.
What are you guys talking about?
We're going to be talking about This Place Rules.
Oh, yeah. I still got to watch that.
Channel 5.
The new Channel 5 with Andrew Callahan documentary about the events leading up to the January 6th Capitol riot.
That's going to be a good episode.
Oh, my God. Make sure you guys watch that. Check out This Place Rules on HBO Max, seriously, before you watch this next episode. Good.
Speaking of fun episodes, we have a spicy Jelly Belly episode popping up on Exploitation.
Oh my God!
On BRGND TV,
destroying his body.
We are doing what we can. we're doing what we gotta do.
You gotta respect it. Well, all right, everybody. Thanks for coming around, sticking around for this little bit of a longer episode. We just had a lot to talk about. I like a long
podcast, put it on while you're at work.
Yeah, just kind of let it play in the background. We just had a lot to talk about, man. This movie is just, there's a lot.
It deserved tender care.
Yeah. Well, all right, everybody. I have been your host, Andrew Hall.
I've been your co-host, BRGND.
And we'll see you guys next time. Sayonara.
Love you.